Snaking lazily amongst low hills, the Wye Valley between Ross-on-Wye and Hereford is something of a contrast to the gorge further downstream. The landscape is patterned with a mixture of meadows, fields, orchards and woodland clumps, crisscrossed by narrow lanes and old trackways linking hamlets and farmsteads. And my walk today revels in this scenery. Good morning. I'm standing just outside the village of Foy, which is about 4 miles north of Ross-on-Wye. I'm actually standing on Foy Bridge, which is a suspension bridge, if I remember my research, built way back in 1919 by a company called David Rowell. And it was built to link Foy to the nearby settlement of Hole in the Wall. Now, I'm particularly excited about today's walk because I'm in a section of the Wye Valley that I'm not so familiar with. I'm very familiar with the section of the Wye Valley between Chepstow and Ross, but as you go north of Ross and go towards Hereford, this is a part of the Wye Valley that I don't know quite so well. I have been here a few times before, but not very often, but I won't claim to say that I know this area at all, so this is very exciting for me. From Foy Bridge, I travelled about 6 miles, following the River Wye upstream, until I came to the village of King's Caple. King's Caple is an ancient settlement with a Norman motte, Capel tump, and a road that was originally Roman lying opposite the church. The stepped cross in the churchyard has long been known as the Plague Cross, but it was only in the 1970s, when repairs to the path were being undertaken, that a plague pit was discovered. It contained over 25 bodies, people thought to have perished during the Black Death of 1348. Inside the church are box pews installed in 1638, and a high pulpit crowned by a sounding board dating from the same period. The oldest parts of the church date from the 13th century, but it has been remodelled and extended over the centuries. From the church, I followed the lane east, going straight over a crossroads by the old village school. I carried on past the modern school until I reached Capel Avenue. Just beyond it, I left the main road along a track on the right beside High House. Where it divided, I took the left branch, going through a couple of gates at the end into a field. Well, this walk actually visits 3 villages, and I don't think I've been to any of them. I've certainly never been to King's Caple before. Really pretty and quiet, tranquil little village. Lovely. After climbing over a stile, there were great views across the surrounding countryside. I headed on along a cleared path through a crop field. I can just see a church spire. That's in the second village that I shall be visiting soon. Oh, breathe in. I exited the fields through a stile onto a narrow lane. I turned right, walking down past cottages to a sharp right-hand bend, where I went left along a waymarked path, shaded by an outgrown hedge, and which led to something else I was looking forward to seeing. Well, this is a real bonus for me, because I'm just about to cross the River Wye again on a second suspension bridge. Now, I've not been to this one before. Wow, this actually wobbles more than Foy Bridge. Selleck Bridge is the finest example of a Louis Harper bridge still in use in the UK. The supports for the bridge were cast in Aberdeen, and the span erected in 1895 to replace a ferry boat that operated from the northern bank. It is said that one vicar in earlier times used stilts to ford the Wye here in order to avoid a lengthy detour. That was just amazing. A really lovely old suspension bridge, as was Foy Bridge too. Well, my way lies ahead towards that church I saw earlier. I arrived at the wonderful tranquil little settlement of Selleck, consisting of a few houses and the church. The church is dedicated to a 7th century Welsh saint, Tysilio, a prince by birth, but who turned his back upon the court to become a hermit monk and ended up a bishop. It honours the custom of giving pax cakes at the conclusion of the Palm Sunday service. The practice dates back to 1484, when the vicar, Thomas More, bequeathed 6 shillings and 8pence, which I quote, "for bread and ale, to be distributed to all and singular in the aforesaid churches for the good of my soul." Well, Sellack is absolutely wonderful. It's almost like it's in a lost world of its own because it's just so quiet and isolated from everywhere. Really beautiful place. I can say with confidence I've never been to Sellack before either. Just amazing. I'm loving this walk today in a part of a Wye Valley that I've never actually been before. And there's more yet to see. I headed away from Selleck as I crossed a wide meadow at a slight angle to eventually close with the river. This is just absolutely wonderful. I'm walking beside a part of the River Wye I've never actually seen before. Just wonderful. Well, I have to say that was a really beautiful stretch of the River Wye I've been walking beside. The River Wye is beautiful wherever you go, but I suppose because this is a new bit for me, so it just gives it that extra bit of excitement for me. Just wonderful. I've been saying wonderful a lot today, haven't I? Anyway, the track's taking me away from the riverbank for the time being, so I'm going to carry on cross country for a while. The track swung away from the river to a junction of lanes. I took the one opposite to Kynaston and Hentland, following it uphill for half a mile to a sharp bend. I left along a waymarked track on the right, but where that then swung left by a pylon, I kept ahead on a hedge-tunnelled sunken path. Over a stile by a gate at the end, I carried on beside the top hedge, continuing in a second field. My walk continued through several fields, with great views to my right towards the River Wye and the surrounding countryside. I'm going to use that word again. Wonderful. It really is. It's just so lovely being in a part of the Wye Valley I'd never been to before. It's gentler than the area that I'm more familiar with, the bit sort of from Ross downstream down to Chepstow. It's more of a gorge down there, but this is equally as beautiful. And I bet also this part of the Wye Valley is less touristy. Well, I'm now arriving in the third and final village on this walk. This is Hoarwithy. I walked into Hoarwithy, a lovely unspoilt village on the banks of the River Wye. I passed the new Harp Inn, which also houses the village shop as well as a post office every Monday morning. It is a great place to relax with good food and drink, and is a popular venue for quiz nights, live music, beer festivals, carol singing, weddings, christenings and birthday parties. The highlight of Hoarwithy for me, however, was the walk up to the church on the hill which overlooks the village. The impressive Italianate parish church of St Catherine's is quite unlike any other church in Herefordshire. It was created by William Poole, who came as vicar to neighbouring Hentland in 1854. He disliked the plain edifice erected by his predecessor, and on inheriting his family's fortune, commissioned J.P. Seddon, a noted Victorian church architect, to design something more pleasing. Inspired by the religious architecture of France and Italy, the work was painstaking and took over 20 years to complete. The building was finally dedicated in 1904. Well, this is really wonderful. I'm using that word again. But I have seen 3 fantastic churches today. Well, I don't think I've been to Hoarwithy either. I don't think I have. If I have, I would have only have driven through it once, but I'm sure I've never been here before, but it's a lovely village, like the other 2. I turned along the lane towards King's Capel and walked down to Hoarwithy Bridge, overseen by a cottage built for the toll collector. The first bridge, built of wood to replace the ancient ferry, was erected in 1856. However, after only 20 years, it was succeeded by one made of iron, and this was finally replaced by a stronger structure in 1990. Okay, well, I'm going to cross over the bridge and then I'm going to walk along the riverbank and follow the lane back into King's Capel. On the far bank, I turned right on a path that briefly joined the river before turning away to rise to the bend of a lane leading back into King's Capel. It's the 1st of October today, and what a great start to the month, because I've done, what's the word for today? Wonderful. A wonderful walk. I know I always say what a wonderful walk I've had when I finish my walks, but I think what has made today's walk particularly wonderful is that I've done a walk in part of the Wye Valley that I've never visited before. So that's been especially wonderful. 3 villages I've never visited before: King's Capel, Sellack and Hoarwithy. Just wonderful. It's been a really lovely walk today. So I'm nearly in King's Capel now, so I've just got to walk up the lane here and I'm back to my car. So what a wonderful day. Wonderful.